Tactical and practical. This episode is very tactical. Some episodes lately have been like less tactical and more practical. This one I think is less practical but more tactical. So listen up. Today we're going to talk about how to create personalized experiences for people that enter your marketing ecosystem based on what we know about them. We're going to talk about the results of tests we've ran looking at traffic from mobile versus desktop. We're going to talk about results, broken out into new and returning customers. And we're going to talk about results of different split tests we've run from different channels, whether they're coming from paid ads, whether they're coming from organic or search or email. All of these cohorts and all these segments can perform differently depending on what you're trying to do. So it's super important to nail it. And I think like personalized marketing is going to become a bigger part of the conversation in the next couple of years, especially as AI agents evolve. So I'm super excited about this kind of like next chapter of ecom. I really think all this personalized stuff is going to be what we're all talking about in 3 years. Some of the capabilities I wish that were there are not there yet, but there's still a lot we can do with the tools we have today to make our marketing funnels extract the most profit possible from each one of these segments. One of the tools that can help us do that is today's sponsor, IntelliGems. You've heard me talk about them before. They're our one-stop shop for profit growth. They allow us to test everything on our website, starting with content and messages, which are crazy impactful. We can test different images and banners. We can test offers. And of course, we can test prices as well. So if you are sick of dumping money into Meta, getting a bunch of people to come to your website and not coming away with the revenue you would like, IntelliGems is the software you need. Finding a win on your website doesn't just increase the performance of one ad or one campaign. Finding a win on your website increases the performance of your entire business. So that's where you should be focused on testing. Go to intelligems.io, let them know I sent you, and you can start adding money to the top and the bottom line today. All right, first up, I want to talk about the different behavior of customers coming on a mobile device or a desktop. If you're like most e-com brands, your mobile to desktop traffic is probably like 80-20, but purchases are often closer. For us, it's like 60% on mobile, 40% on desktop. So don't ignore desktop just because it's the minority of traffic. It might be a larger chunk of purchases than you might think. So make sure you dig in on that. And then we're going to talk about how we make sure to optimize that going forward. For us on desktop, the winning landing page format has been to show 4 watches per row horizontally, and then have the rows going down to show our full collections. But as we just saw on this test we ran, mobile traffic performed slightly better on a format that just showed one watch on each row, and then to the right had a little image that was talking about the watch, basically an ad for that watch on our website next to it. I can put a screenshot of it here, but it'll show you the watch, then an ad, then the watch, then an ad. That performed better on mobile, but way worse on desktop. So we're going to be rolling out an experience where everyone on mobile is going to see this kind of page, where desktop is going to take our normal 4-row landing page format. But again, this is something that, like, if we just set to the majority, if we just set to be good on mobile, we'd actually have devastating results for our desktop traffic. Desktop conversion rate, conversion rate was actually up, but AOV was way down. This might be because of the order in the watches. That might be because they didn't see the entire collection like they usually do. So profit per session was actually cut in half, which would have been a disaster. So that's why going forward, we're going to segment traffic by mobile and desktop and make sure each group is getting the best experience by the device that they are coming in on. Next up, we're going to talk about a test that had different results based on new versus returning customers. This test was a price test where we were testing prices higher than we had in a while. Our new customers were much more willing to pay higher prices. Conversion rate was actually up on the highest pricing tier, which of course means profit per visitor was up a bunch. So we were pumped with that. I think that shows us our new higher quality content and messaging is doing a great job of communicating the value of our products. So people who have never heard of us before didn't balk at that price and actually made it look more exclusive, made it look like a higher end product enough that they jumped at that price point. That was $50 higher. Now, we did not see the same thing from our returning customers. Again, these prices were higher than we had tested, so all of our returning customers had never seen prices this high from us. Their conversion rate was okay with the 20% increase, but we saw a massive fall off when we went up $50, the 24% decrease in conversion rate, and a 10% decrease in profit per session, which is not what we want to see. So we are thinking about different acquisition versus retention offers. Maybe we don't have to get as aggressive discounting to new customers, and maybe we want to give the sweeter deals to our existing customers. That works for us retention-wise anyway, because we don't have to pay CAC on those guys again. But again, a big difference based on what's performing here. And performance is obviously going to benefit by us implementing what we've learned from this test, but it's not just about performance. To me, this kind of goes into just treating your customers right and building your brand right. I don't want to discount our product super heavily on acquisition, but once you're in the club, I have no problem giving you a good deal on your second and third and fourth original grain watch, and the data supports doing that. Last up, I think it's super important to look at site visitor behavior based on where they came from. This was a test where we changed the format of a landing page. The collection LP was showing all of our watches at once. This Duo LP was showing 2 watches at the top, then had a big kind of content block, and before it showed the rest of the collection. That worked for organic social and search traffic, and it cuts off, but it worked for email traffic as well. But paid social wanted to see the full collection. They had a 10% higher conversion rate coming from ads on Facebook and Instagram with the page that showed the full collection rather than just the 2 watches up top. I think this might be because paid social is going to be our coldest traffic. They might want to get a sense for the entire brand. They might not have been seeing us before, whereas traffic from organic and from email, they might have already picked out which watch they want to buy. It likely is one of those top 2 because those are our 2 best sellers. So when they got to the page, they were just more likely to jump at one of those first 2. And their conversion rate on the page that showed everything was much lower and much higher on the page that just showed the top 2. I wanted to do this episode because too many marketers, myself included at times, we look at things on a whole, on a blended level. We look at, site-wide visitors were 100K, and site-wide conversion rate was 1.5%, and site-wide revenue per session was $350. But that doesn't give you too much actionable data. That might be a blended overview of how your business is doing, but that's not going to help you get better. When you start analyzing this stuff by device type, or by new and returning customers, or by new and returning site visitors, or where people are discovering you and where people are clicking from, that's where you can unlock these really actionable insights. So from these 3 tests that we ran, we learned that we can show fewer watches to people on mobile as long as we're persuasive enough in showing them. That's going to perform better on desktop because desktop traffic wants to see the whole collection. We saw a similar story based on where people were coming from. Cold traffic wants to see the whole collection, where a warmer audience that might be more familiar with us, coming from email and from organic social, just need to see the top 2 watches before they convert. And on our price test, we saw very clearly that customers who hadn't heard of us before, that didn't have a price anchor for how much original grain watches could cost, we're happy to pay prices $50 higher than our usual, whereas our returning customers wanted to see the price that they bought on a couple months ago. Once you start splitting this data up into these different segments and cohorts, you're going to unlock data that's going to help you build personalized and customizable funnels and landing pages and experiences on your website that are going to extract the most profit possible from each group. And I think that's where the future of e-commerce is going. I hope a couple years from now, maybe a year from now, when I Google that I'm looking for a new watch, I hope there's a tool that can make sure the brand knows that, hey, this site visitor is a 30-year-old man. I'm not 30 yet, but I'll be 30 next year. I'll be a 30-year-old man who has a young daughter and is married. He likes whiskey and bull riding and Formula One. And I'm looking for this watch because my birthday's in a month, and my wife wanted to know what she can get me. I would love to be able to know as much data as possible, because once I know that, then I could send someone to a landing page that has all of our Western and whiskey content. And I could talk about how this makes a great gift, but also the guys are proud to wear it and proud to feel like they've earned that watch based on what I know about this guy. So that's where I think ecom is going. For now, the tools we have can be incredibly impactful, and we, to be honest, haven't even done enough of this, of what I'm talking about here. But I think personalized funnels on your site are going to be more and more popular, and this data proves it. I mean, just to reiterate how big these tests are, the first one had a 50% decrease in conversion rate on desktop traffic. Don't do that to desktop traffic. The second one had a 10% increase on profit per session for new customers, but a 10% decrease on profit per session for returning customers. That's a 20% swing. That's a big deal. And the last one, depending on where they came from, is either a 10% increase in conversion rate or a 4% or a 17% decrease in conversion rate. So again, these are all massive, massive performance levers that are hidden in different segments of your data. So you might look and say, oh, overall conversion rate is up, we're doing great. Overall revenue and profit per session is up, we're doing great. But there might be some cohorts that are struggling, and you need to market to them too. It'll bring up the entire performance of your business. So thank you so much for listening, and I hope you've loved this series on price testing. Sorry, not on price testing. This whole series on website testing, I think is crazy important for people. And I'm really excited to wrap it up, but I won't forget some of these topics. A lot of you have already asked me great questions. I'll probably do an episode soon answering a bunch of fan questions that I've gotten. So feel free to DM me, comment on stuff. I'll reply, and I'll get all the answers in a future episode too. Thanks so much for listening to Tactical and Practical. I will talk to you soon.